Good afternoon and welcome to Titan Talk. Hey guys, thanks for joining us today. Today you've got myself, Lieutenant Coop. We have our wonderful local talent,
How's it
Captain McFarland. And we have a special guest with us, and we want to thank him for joining us. We kind of dragged him in from overnight. We have Cpl Fields with us today, so thank you for joining us, Cpl Fields.
Yeah, anytime.
So we wanted to do another Meet Your Supervisor, and we thought who better, since we're kind of making the rounds through lieutenants, then start going to sergeants and corporals and people that you guys are going to run into on the phones more and more often. Cpl Fields has been stepping up quite a bit and helping us out in the mornings and in the overnights and trying to take the reins and learn as much as he can. So we wanted to do a little introduction about him to you guys, so you guys have a face to the name. So Cpl Fields, again, thanks for joining us. And,
of course, glad to be here.
Yeah, you've been with Lieutenant Voss quite a bit. I think he's kind of been your mentor, correct?
About a year.
Yeah, yep. He's a good one to have. That's a lot of people are overnight guys that watch this. I don't know if any of our overnight guys do, but
I think I'm one of the few.
They're sleeping.
Few? Come on now, there's millions. But no, the overnight guys are probably more intimate with him. Voss is kind of the unsung hero that does a lot of the dirty work in the mornings, and so essentially that's going to be a position that you move into, where Voss is up obviously before everybody because he comes in at midnight and deals with all the craziness of the overnight patrol stuff, and then he comes back to the office with about 4 or 5,
typically five or so.
5 or 6 maybe, and starts to kind of put the Tetris puzzle piece together, or that doesn't make sense. The puzzle together for coverage for the day. If we have a couple existing open shifts, he triages which on-calls we can use to, certain areas. And then we kind of have the day lined out for us by all the, he's like a maestro, he just kind of orchestrates everything, and then hands that off to the day guys. And so we're always kind of set up for as much success as we can be. Excuse me. And that's a really cool feature, or a really cool tool to have, and it's great that we're sculpting you to do the same thing. So we really appreciate your hard work that you've been doing to get prepared for that. You've always been a really, really big team player. I know we've thrown some promotions at you for other things, and I think you've just kind of wanted to follow this path. So it's not easy to do. To get somebody to drink the Kool-Aid is not the easiest thing to do. But
so let's kind of let's start it off this way. Give us a little bit of history about you. So you've been with Titan for about a year now, is what it was?
Yep, it'll be a year on June 1st. Actually.
So where did
you haven't been here a year, huh?
Correct.
Wow, I didn't know that. I thought you were here.
I thought it was over a year.
Oh, I actually just moved to Missouri last year, about this time of year.
Okay.
So.
Give us a little bit of background. Where did you start with Titan?
So I was actually hired directly onto patrol. I spent about a week working at the Brookside Price Chopper, Store 154, while my insurance and everything got sorted. And then from there, I jumped straight into patrol. Started out on 309, which is like the beginner route.
Yep.
Learn the basics, get everything down for patrol. And then from there, I moved downtown, acted as the floater for the downtown routes. And within 6 months, I promoted to corporal and have been leading those guys ever since.
Good for you, man. That's pretty quick movement.
So I'm going to interrupt real quick, and I'm going to say, Diego, welcome back. It's
hey,
good
buddy.
to see you there, buddy.
Our fact checker's back. Hope everything worked out okay. I know you had to step away from some stuff, so I hope everything's well with you, Diego.
All right, so you've been 6 months. You made it to patrol corporal, and you've been running that crew and helping run that crew ever since.
Yep.
You got hired directly on patrol. That's a kind of a rarity nowadays. Generally, most of our patrol officers in the past had started at on-sites and worked their way into patrol, the same as I did and he did, and almost everybody else. We've had a few that way, but it's very rare. You got to have a certain level of
and I came from law enforcement.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's you. Come on, that's kind of expected.
Yeah, they're like, hey, you'll figure it out later, dude.
All right, so what do you, when you're as a supervisor, what do you look for from your patrol guys that you, as a supervisor, classify as above and beyond? Because we've had the past supervisors kind of give us what they look for when it comes to what are the big things that you see that impress you? And we've had uniform, we've had, all types of stuff. So what is something that when you're talking to your crew and you're out and about, whether it be from your patrol officers or an on-site officer, when you stop by and see, what are the things that you look at from those officers that kind of make them stand out to you and go, that person might be a really good fit for this, and this might be somebody we can cultivate into a new role.
So starting out on patrol, most people start on the outer routes. They're kind of the introductory routes, the beginner routes, so to speak. One of the things I look for from them starting there and moving downtown is the ability to make decisions and take the initiative on their own without having to contact a supervisor. Now, granted, if the situation calls for it and it's applicable to contact a supervisor, 100% call us. But if it's something that you can take the lead on and make that decision without having to clutter any more decisions for us, that's one of the big things for me. I want guys that are decisive because I feel like in the critical moment, if you don't decide to do anything, that can be fatal. So making a decision, even if it's not necessarily the right decision, in retrospect, at least you made a decision.
Yeah,
Because you can always learn from those decisions, right or wrong.
Exactly.
There's a specific quote, not specific, but a phrase we use a lot of times is, hey, that guy makes mistakes, but he's got a motor. You know, and if he goes in the wrong direction, he goes in the wrong direction 100 miles an hour. And in certain things, that's not great, but other things, it's like, hey, at least he did something. You know, he didn't show up to a roadblock and go, man, I guess this is where my journey stops. Go over it, go around it, go underneath it, go through it, find another route. You know, there's always a way to get to the destination, even if you have to detour. And that's one thing some of the managers here, supervisors here, it was one of my biggest pet peeves. Is when I have a supervisor that hey, this is some responsibility. It comes with some freedom. I'm not a micromanager, and so people can either sink or swim underneath me fairly quickly because are you going to do something about it? What have you tried to do about it? I need you to make sure that you understand that responsibility. And someone like you that I already know does, we always do really well together. We're going to make mistakes, dude. It happens I make them every day. Every single day. But it's how you approach the next task or the next... It's like in football. This is a sports analogy, so... Sorry,
Take your drink.
Sorry, Coop. Take your drink. It's a quarterback throws an interception, and if he goes back out there and he's afraid to throw the ball again, that's a problem.
Yep.
Okay?
Exactly.
Not that it's okay. Not that it's okay to throw interceptions. It's not. We don't want that. But you got to be able to go back out there with confidence to throw the ball again. Otherwise, it's going to affect you for the rest of your career, and so those are the things that don't sit well with me. Is someone's like, well, I didn't want to make the wrong decision. Well, not doing anything is the wrong decision too,
right,
dude.
exactly.
I think
so
personally,
get out there and get after
not
it.
doing anything is the worst decision.
Exactly.
When it comes to some of the things that we run into, when you get that roadblock and that impasse, it's not necessarily the fact that you don't make it or that you do the wrong thing. It's if you do the wrong thing, you can learn a lot from that. You can learn as much from your success as you can from your failure, and I think you can learn more from your failures. But when you sit there and you don't do anything when you could have, I think that's like the absolute worst case scenario.
Well, there's no potential to learn if you don't make a decision. If there's no action taken, what are you going to learn from it?
Agreed.
Sorry, it's kind of important.
He does this all the time.
No, not all the time. Just when it's important, I have to.
So that's good. So that's what you're looking for. Is you're looking for those guys that are making those decisions and that type of process. It's good. We had Lieutenant Shaughnessy on here, and he's a real rules guy.
Yeah,
he follows me in that path. And so, excuse me. One of the things he looks for
Fields is hard to hear.
Fields, you're hard to hear.
Yeah, I'm pretty soft spoken, so
Oh.
my apologies.
Well, speak up.
Who told you that?
My favorite employee here that's on. Well, I shouldn't say that. I'm just kidding.
Oh,
One of my favorite employees here.
People.
No, Brian.
Okay, do me a favor.
I think Brian's all of everybody's favorite.
When you're speaking, just pull a little bit closer and get a little. Stop speaking softly. I guess I could turn you up a little bit, but you're already
Get a
higher
little
than
bit
the rest
closer
of
to
us.
the mic.
Littering and.
So no, that's one of the things that we talk about when it comes to what you're looking for. Lieutenant Shaughnessy kind of follows my footpath in that. I look for how does your uniform look, how do you appear, because a big thing of what we do and we deal with is an appearance.
Yep.
And so he kind of really harps on that, and then he's a real rule guy. He's very similar to me in that nature, and so that's one of the things I look for. When I'm visiting officers or I see a patrol officer. Are you following the SOPs? Or are you taking that extra step on those? How does your uniform look? How do you present yourself? Because that's a lot of what we deal with is it's a presentation. When they walk through the door, when you walk through the door responding to a call, does your uniform look good? Do you look the part, or do you look like a jumbled mess? Because that's going to set the tone for everything you walk into.
Yep, 100%.
All right. That was funny. That was funny, Brian, but I'm done. I'm turning it over. That's rude.
He says thanks
Brian says thanks.
for me for your comment.
No, no problem. No problem. What
So-
else is new, guys? With you, like patrol. I'm sorry.
With patrol.
Yeah.
Well, right now we are hurting a little bit from manpower, but we're working with the PRNs to get that kind of covered.
Cool.
We're getting new classes in every week, scouting out people to see how they're performing, how they're doing, what kind of tone they're setting, and
This is a good platform then. Anybody that's listening that's at a static post that is looking for, a more, you talk about something new every day environment.
We had
Let us know.
we had Lieutenant Voss and Lieutenant Ortiz on,
yep.
and we were talking about some of the advantages of patrol, and it's the fact that everything changes. You never know what you're going to walk into. You get on, and then you might get calls for potential DV, noise level stuff,
Exactly.
homeless on property that aren't supposed to be there. I mean, the calls range so much that you never know what you're walking into, which makes the days better, rather than going in and knowing exactly how today is going to play out, or have a much better idea of it standing at a post versus being on patrol. And so I think that makes life better.
One of the things that I really enjoy about patrol is the way myself and Lieutenant Voss run patrol overnight. A lot of our guys have the freedom to get their routes done the way they see fit.
Yeah.
We trust them to look at their route, see how their night's going, plan it out,
Right.
and get it taken care of. And as long as you get your stuff done, I don't care what order you hit the properties in.
Yep.
So you can kind of build your route yourself almost every night that you come in. And, guys find the most efficient way to run it. But
It empowers your guys, man. That's really cool to hear that. When I was quote unquote patrol, I was a patrol supervisor on my shift when I ran my patrol unit, which was just my shift, my days. I did the same thing. I got the guys, I huddled up. I said, hey, I'm not going to micromanage you. If you guys are bunching up, I'll tell you to quit bunching up. We need to be efficient. We got to make money, and so that's just how it goes. But at the same time, I was like, but do it how you want to. I'm not going to sit here and be like, hey, you need to hit this. You need to hit this property. This gives you time for dispatch calls. You need to write reports here. Don't care. Now, if you're struggling, I can put a plan together for you that'll work.
Exactly.
But if you can't think for yourself,
It kind of presents a problem.
you're probably not going to work out,
And
so
that-
I feel like I'm being negative today, but
that kind of ties back into making the decisions for yourself, taking the initiative,
Right.
Looking at your options and figuring out where do I go from here, and then, like I said, if the situation calls for it, you can always contact myself or Lieutenant Voss or Corporal Carrillo, the other patrol corporal,
Yeah.
for the weekends, and give us, let us know what's the situation, what's going on, how can we help. And that's what we're here for as supervisors, is to make sure our guys are taken care of, make sure
Yep.
they have what they need to be successful in their positions.
set you up for success. That's what
Exactly.
a good leader does. So they don't lead from the back; they lead from the front, and that's just saying, "Hey, why do you do it that way? Because it's a good way to do it. I've been doing it for a while." And the guys are like, "Oh, I'm going to do it that way," and it's just a good recipe. So that's great to hear. What else? Anything? What else is new?
We have Beatty on here going, "Oh snap! It's Corporal Fields."
Oh, Beatty, yeah.
Beatty rears his head every once in a while.
Yeah.
when he's bored at what he's doing.
When's he coming back again? It's still like 6 months out, isn't it?
October.
October.
Is when he officially comes back, but I believe he's going to take some time with his family before he
Yeah.
comes back.
Oh, absolutely.
Give his wife
Can't
a
blame
break.
Exactly.
Help take
Yeah.
care.
Yep.
He's like, here you go. Here's the keys to the castle. I'm going out to earn some money.
Let's see. LJ, thanks for joining us. We have Brian with a good question. What are some tips for officers on patrol?
Okay, that's a good one. And this is something that Lieutenant Voss will definitely reinforce. Make sure your report writing is up to par.
Please.
At the minimum. We can assist with grammar, spelling, punctuation, things of that sort. But, with report writing, and even I harp on people sometimes for this, there's a structure that you can follow. The who, the what, the when, the where.
The why. Yeah. And then the outcome, the resolution of the outcome. Sorry to
Exactly.
interrupt you, but that's one of my biggest things is they'll be like, yeah, there's a fire extinguisher that, or not, there was one I read the other day. It was during my rounds. That's all. It started off during my rounds. No, not the date, time, location, who they are, where they're at. During my rounds, there was a fire extinguisher case that was open. Okay. Did you close it?
Right.
Was it damaged?
What's the
Was
disposition?
the fire extinguisher in it?
Yeah, there's, and so those are the things where I'm just like, oh man,
Yep.
so I gotta call
Give you
the
anxiety
officer.
about it?
Well, it's just I gotta call that guy, and that was an overnight one, so it's like I gotta wake him up and be like, hey, I need you to, like, give me some meat to the story here.
Yeah.
And then there's some, maybe I'm complaining today. Too many rainy days in a row. I feel negative today, but I'm just being negative. And so the other side of that is a guy came in. He had one blue shoe, one red shoe. His shoelaces were navy, and it's like you got a picture of him. Give us a brief description, but and so I don't want to be mean or harp on people for too much description. But if it's like just a guy showed up and left, but there's more than a homicide report worth of narrative there. And it's
right.
It's like, I don't want to be,
I remember
ungrateful because it's so long, but the guy just showed up on property, was EDP and left, just kind of whatever. So I just feel extra negative today, and that's not fair. I don't like it. That's not.
He's taking it out. He's taking it out on us, Fields.
Yeah, this is my platform, so I'm taking it out.
One of the other things I like to remind my guys,
Lieutenant. He'd be Captain Negative Nancy. Brian says Lieutenant Negative Nancy, but it's Captain.
Yeah, it's Captain.
Wow,
Negative
he
Nancy.
demoted you.
Yeah, you got your favorite demoted you.
It happens quite a bit. It doesn't really bother me. Some people you get real like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. It's just
been
title.
called worse.
You can call me McFarland. That's perfectly fine. Call me Ryan. Either one's fine. It does not bother me. I've had supervisors where they're like, it's Lieutenant so and so. I'm like, okay, buddy.
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. We're all human beings. We all put pants on the same way, usually, for the most part. One leg in the other.
I jump and to get into mine.
Well, that's because you got a big butt and you got to wiggle into it.
Yeah.
That actually brings up a good point.
Coop's butt?
No.
That's a really good point. All right.
Talking about, supervisors moving up and having that kind of disposition towards your other officers that may be, below you. A lot of the patrol guys I worked with prior to being promoted, and, the dynamic shifts slightly because there is that line that's now drawn.
Sure.
But, having that dynamic between you, where I can come in at night and be like, hey, this is what I need done. This is the updates that I have for you guys. Get it taken care of. They treat me with respect for the rank, but that dynamic still allows me to have conversations with them.
Yeah.
And exchange information in a way there's no tenseness, there's nothing like that.
It's because of the way you carry yourself. That has a lot to do with it. Mm-hmm. And you're not going to go in and bark at people. I've had managers or supervisors in the past, and maybe it's probably what's sculpted me into the manager I am today, that doesn't micromanage. I let problems rise to the top, and I'll say, okay, this isn't a good fit for you, buddy, or I'll help them as best I can. Because I've had those guys that were just like, the way I explain it is, outside of work, I'm a big guy, so I don't have to just impose my will all the time, and that's just something that's God given. It's I don't have, a horrible way to put it, little man syndrome.
Is that a short joke?
No, little man syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
Not even short. You can be short and just carry a presence. It's just a little testosterone. And it's not that I'm walking in the grocery store aisle and I bump shoulders because you get out of my way.
Right.
It's just there's some people that kind of just go through life where they don't have, they don't impose that, just
Presence.
Mm-hmm. And so when they get a title or they get power because of structure at a job, they turn into a hammer, and
they
they're just
unwind.
they're just
everything's a nail.
I'm your boss. I tell you what to do. I've never done that. I've never, and I've had people be, and he's heard it, be so insubordinate over the phone. Yeah. This is a negative. Maybe I need this day. Who cares? I've had people be so insubordinate over the phone where they're like, you don't tell me what to do. And I've never pulled the card where actually, I do. It's my job. I'm responsible for your, success or failure.
Exactly.
And so I have to navigate that, knowing that you're a human being, knowing that this is a job, this isn't your entire life, and be successful at that. That is my job,
Yep.
And so, and I've realized you catch more flies with honey than you do vinegar, but there's a time and place where you got to kind of get in someone's ass. And what I've noticed from your leadership skills, and I've seen in the field, is you have a very good way of delivering good and bad news. And so it's a compliment to you. You're very stoic in that sense that you're able to. Coop's good. There's a lot of guys that are good at it, where they don't have to just go, hey, you need to get your shit together and berate somebody in front of not only subordinates but other peers and stuff like that, because that manager, I've had that manager, and those people suck. Yeah. Those people suck.
They do. 100%.
And a lot of times they're in the positions like that because somebody they know, or they haven't earned it by going through the ranks of, hey, that didn't work how I talked to that person. Because I'm not saying I'm an angel. I'm not saying that I'm great at everything I do. I've learned along the way what works well, and then I just try to keep applying that. Exactly. And someone that's a good leader does that. And they also treat people like human beings, especially in this industry. That's something you need.
I found out through the years of managers I've had and stuff like that the managers you're talking about, whether they impose that will, you're going to do what I say, this is what it is, because those are usually the people that come in and they're either overqualified for the job and they've never actually done the job, so they've never been a security officer, or they've never been a technician or whatever, and they're given the position over those ones. And they don't have that understanding of, hey, this is what they deal with on a daily basis. This is what they're dealing with, these EDPs, or they're dealing with these customers that don't want to listen, or whatever the case may be. That way, they've never dealt with that. Yep. They've got the knowledge and the school knowledge, the book knowledge, but they don't have the field experience. And that's generally, when I run into those ones, that's generally who I run across.
In this industry,
yeah.
Have you ever seen the show Band of Brothers?
Yes.
Where I think it's Lieutenant Spears, maybe. It's been a long time. I actually need to rewatch that series. Brian probably knows. There's a lieutenant in there that's an officer, and he has the rank he has because he's an officer. Ross from Friends. Yeah.
He's the one. And then because there's that scene.
They get in the field, and they're actually at war.
Yeah.
And the dude freezes up. Yeah. And so his understudy comes in and goes, "Get the hell out of the way! These men need to survive. I'm keeping these men alive." And handles business.
There's the scene where someone mouths off to him or something, or he gets upset about
something.
You
love to hate the guy at the show.
Yeah.
So. Have you seen it too?
I have.
It's a good show. Yeah. But he's they're getting ready to go on leave. And he does an inspection on everybody.
That extends. And he cancels the leave or whatever.
Everybody goes, and so everybody's out on but whatever. Everybody's leave gets canceled, and that's that book smart guy. He knows the knowledge. He's got the book smart behind it, but he's got no practical application of what's going on, and that's where I run into those.
There
managers.
are faces that pop up in my brain. Of those managers I've had. And it's just like, I wish them well.
Brian Ross from Friends.
Yes. I wish them well in their endeavors. I don't wish any ill will on anybody.
I wish you success, just not at my table.
Exactly. That's a very good way to put it. That's a very philosophical way to put it, yeah. I hope you eat good, just not with me.
Yeah.
And one of the things I really like about Titan is that they promote from within. So for me, starting out as a patrol officer and then moving to the corporal position, I know what it's like to be out in the field and running the routes and, dealing with what these guys deal with that are under me. And even as a patrol corporal, I still run routes just like everybody else. So I understand that. And I definitely don't demand respect from any of my guys.
No.
I think that's the wrong way to go about it. Yep. I like to use a firm but fair approach.
Yeah. No, I've noticed that. You're developing into a very good leader, and you're definitely an asset to the team. So we appreciate the hard work you put in, and someone that come in here and can motor all day, and that's great. We love them, but there's people that are naturals like you that just we see. Okay, that guy's going to do good things here. So just keep up the good work, man.
I appreciate
that's
that.
Something that it's just a special thing to see. We were talking, me and Leon were talking about it earlier today. Man, there was. I'll give a shout out of the day. I don't care if he wants me to or not. I'm doing it anyway. Sergeant Bassett.
Do it.
Sergeant Bassett. It was between you and I. We're having an exchange about an officer, and we didn't know about licensing. Yeah. I didn't have to ask him.
Yep.
You didn't have to ask him. He saw that we were trying to figure out a solution. We were tied up otherwise, and he went
came in and there was the solution.
Pulled the file and was like, actually, no, this is the information you guys need. And that sort of thing is just next level thinking.
And it wasn't something like it took him 15, 20 minutes. It wasn't something that an hour later he noticed that we were talking about it.
Yeah.
We were talking about it, and within like a minute, he goes, hey, I pulled the file. This is what you're looking for. Yeah. And it was just, it was that.
That was really cool. And then I was telling Leon about it, and he just goes, "You guys, we have pretty damn good team."
Proud when that popped up on my message. We were in the middle of a meeting, and we were talking about that particular officer, and then he did that, and I just sat there and looked at the message, and I was like, "That's all right." I was like, "That's one of our guys. That's one of our guys."
Yep.
And that's taking the initiative, making a decision. It goes back to that.
Yeah. I sent this to Leon too as a quote. I'm pretty sure it's Mike Tyson. It's about discipline, and discipline is doing something you hate to do and make it look like you love it. Yep. And that's a lot of the
I saw a
shitty stuff we have to do sometimes.
Yeah.
but you do it. 'Cause
You just do it anyway because you have to. And if that means I got to go down here at Shamrock and mop a floor because we got somebody important coming in, I'm
Mopping the floor.
Where's the mopping bucket?
Something
Somebody start me some hot water.
I saw a quote. I don't remember how long ago it was, but it was it's a workout quote, you know, and I think it's from I can't remember who it's from. You might know.
I'd have to.
You kind of got this quote thing for it though, but so he goes, I don't start counting my push-ups or my pull-ups or anything until it starts to hurt.
Yeah,
because
that's
that's
cool.
when it matters.
Yeah,
you know, that's when it doesn't matter that I can do 100 beforehand. It starts to hurt at 100. That's when I know that I'm getting.
If it started to hurt at 100, I'd be in great shape.
Using it as an example.
I know. I'm just.
But it's one of those. And
I'm making it funny.
And that's when that's what that's really what it comes down to is, it's that we're looking at something we've got. I don't count when everything is normal or we're doing our day-to-day stuff. I count it when the chips are down, when we're looking for that information in the middle of something, or there's a client fire and one of you guys steps up, or there's a hole somewhere and you step up and go, hey, I got that. You guys continue with what you're doing. I'm going to take this on.
Yeah.
That's that step. That's it. We don't count that until it starts hurting.
Yeah.
Until that pain comes in.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Speaking of push-ups, we are starting a diet competition here at the office with a few of us, and
It was Muhammad Ali.
I'm not looking forward to it, but
Yeah.
I got roped into it, and then if I back out, I got to do a 5-mile run around the lake. I didn't even enter into this contest.
So,
but
yeah.
my name's on a board, and I
Four
have
of-
a target weight, and I'm like,
Four of us started. One of us. I don't know if I should give out names. Anyway, one of us has
I don't care.
a competition that they're doing.
What's going on with your action camera? That's weird.
Ignore it.
Oh.
One of us has a competition that he's getting ready to do, and he needs to be a certain weight for it. And he's real close because he always is.
He's within like a pound or two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he's got
Cheating.
he's got a target weight, and so somehow, because I got roped into it too, but I'm actually happy about it. He's not.
No, I
And,
like
and so we were coming up with
eating bad food.
What are our goals and everything that way. And so we're sitting there, hey, you're gonna do it, and he's ignoring us. And we're like, well, what is a punishment? Like something you really don't want to do. And one of them goes, let's do a run around the lake. And I was like, you realize I have a broken toe right now. Like, I'm not going to be able to run anywhere. They're like, well, then don't back out. And I'm like, that's not the point.
Yeah, I never opted in, so I shouldn't have to back out of something. It's like, how do I back out of a parking spot I never pulled into?
Because the car's there.
This is horse
Your
manure.
car's already there.
No, it's not.
It's already there in the spot.
Nope.
It may have been towed and put there, but
Yeah.
it's in the spot.
Well, they can tow it and put it back out.
That 5-mile run.
And I mean, I would just do a 5-mile walk. That's not even that bad. But no.
Just a light jog.
Yeah, a jog.
Yeah.
It's pronounced yogging. That's what the young people do these days. But yeah, no, I'm not looking forward to it. And being a pool owner, I probably should
You
be
could
in
do
shape.
laps.
I should be in shape. I could, yeah. Actually, I could. Swimming's a full body workout.
Yeah, you could do laps around your
I'm
pool.
just not looking forward to changing my diet. I don't want to.
You can still eat semi unhealthy. You can still eat.
I like eating fully unhealthy.
You can still eat really good, and it still appears to be bad for you. You can.
Just don't
Yeah.
think about it. Just do it.
I know.
He just doesn't like change.
I'm not quitting drinking though.
Nobody's asking you to.
Okay.
The gold
That's the
line.
easiest way to lose money.
The gold line pool. Do laps in your gold line pool.
We're gonna pull the cover off here in the next week or two.
See, you just do laps. That'll be your exercise, part of your exercise,
Yeah, actually, yeah.
and that's really good for you.
I know it is. I've
telling you.
I
swam
don't know
my
how you
entire
know.
life.
All you do is float in the damn thing right now.
Float and fall asleep. Yeah. Have adult beverages. No, that's actually a really good idea. I'll swim laps when I get home every night.
See, I can't do that. Well, I guess I could. I couldn't do it until Memorial.
Don't you have a pool at your place?
Yeah, it opens Memorial weekend, so I could do it after that, I guess.
Yeah. Mine's long enough. Just down and back, down and back, down and back.
Ours isn't super long.
Is mine bigger than that one?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. Ours is.
You just go swim in Cap's pool.
Yeah, I come home. He's like on his back, spitting water out of his mouth. Hey,
McFarland.
I'm like, you're so pale.
What are you
You're
doing
so
here again?
pale.
I'm getting my swimming
car. I was
in.
like, where's your car? I parked in the woods. So you wouldn't know I was here.
I didn't want you freaking out. What do you mean?
Dogs are going nuts. Sinead's on the porch like, who's here? Who is that? He's like, oh, that's Coop. Yeah, shoot him. Don't let him come back.
Yeah, but
So tell the story about your toe.
I'll
tell it.
I got it. So Monday night, I was at home. I don't know. Wasn't thinking. Kind of wasn't in my own. I was just running on autopilot, I guess. and I was changing into my afternoon non-work attire, and I spun around to go into my my bathroom closet, and I kicked my closet door with like everything I had and then some, and just at first it didn't feel bad. I was like, oh, that sucks. And I took a couple of steps back and I sat down on my bed.
And then the nerves fire off.
Like I sat down on my bed and I picked my foot up to look at my toe. And like the second the pressure from my foot left the ground, instant pain. I was like, ah! And I fell back and I'm like, fuck! And it just, I knew something was wrong. And then as I look at my toe, I saw the purple show up and I'm like, nope, that's, I was like, I think it's just stuff.
It's not good when it shows up right away. Usually it's a day later.
No, this was like,
instant
this was
bruise.
almost instant turning purple. And so I was like, oh, maybe it's just jammed real bad. So I went to like pop it, because if you pop it, like, to me, it always feels better after a jam.
Horrible idea.
Nope. The second I touched it, nope. So I stood up and walked
That's
away.
not connected
done
anymore.
With it.
So I'm going to add
then-
to this one. Can I tell the second part? Because it was my perspective that was so funny.
Yeah. And then yesterday, I decided to do something stupid and re-break it. He
Yeah.
wants to tell that story.
So we were walking out of the patrol room. There's like a group of 6 or 7 of us, and all the doors have key codes here. So you got to swipe your badge, and usually one guy will swipe it and hold it. Well, I'm assuming you swiped it and held it, and then everybody
was
walked
walking
out.
out the door.
Oh, okay. So yeah. Oh, okay. So someone was holding it, and you were the last one out.
And they let go of the door.
They let go of the door. He went to catch it with his hand, and he slid his foot into it, and all of a sudden, no noise.
Normally,
No noise.
real quick. Normally, when I catch those our doors,
'cause
I'll
of your
stick
foot.
I'll stick my foot out, not my hand, because I can catch it with my foot and then just move past
And
it.
we usually have shit in our hands.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
Not like poop, but you know. And so he like goes to kick it, and it was just silent. And I didn't hear. I was the first one out, and there was a bunch of people. There was like, I don't know, 6 or 7 of us, and we're
6 or 7.
transitioning to the training room, and it's just a little hallway from the patrol room. And all of a sudden, I hear, "What's wrong with Coop?" And I look back, and he is on his knee. And he's like holding the door.
Is he
and
T-bowing?
just
No, I'm not-
silent-
I'm
yeah,
not holding-
he T-bowed.
I'm
He
not holding-
T-bowed
I'm not-
by the door.
I'm not holding the door. I'm holding onto the handle.
Yeah.
because
And
I'm
he's just-
doing everything to prop myself up, because the amount of pain.
He was
it took
just like-
everything in my everything I had not to scream.
And I go, oh, he kicked the door, didn't he? And like I felt bad because I could tell he was not okay, but he was alive. And then all of a sudden he just kind of goes, my toe. Go, he re-broke it. It was just the visual of you T-bowing on
it
the
was
side of
so-
the door.
it was one of the-
fantastic.
If-
It was
if-
majestic.
If any of you have ever broken your toe and then re-broken it freshly after been, because this was 2 days after I broke it, so
What
it's not
happened
even.
to
It wasn't. It's still not even healed at all.
Silently went into a prayer position.
That was
What
so
happened to
much
Coop?
pain. It completely wiped my memory for the day. Like, I had an officer call me and go, "Yeah, we spoke today," and I was like, "We spoke yesterday about this." And I'm like, "I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I re-broke my toe yesterday. If me and you talked that morning, I don't remember anything of what we said." And he goes, "Really?" And I go, "Yeah, I'm not lying."
There's a cloud
And he
of
goes,
pain.
he goes, "Do you need to go home?" I'm fine now. What do you want?
There was a cloud of pain. No, it was, and it's not like you
Billy.
re-broke it like months down the road. It was like less than 48
days.
hours later. Yeah,
2 days.
good job. Well,
For those of you wondering, yes, it still hurts right now.
you should see him walk around the office. It's hilarious
I'm hobbling everywhere.
because I hurt my shins after the
draft.
The draft because
yeah.
we walked like 50, 60 miles in 4 days, and I'm just not used to that. And Coop was giving me shit, and then I saw him limping around. I was like, "Ha ha! Hope your foot hurts."
We went for a walk around. We went to.
Yeah, you
Leon
did a
went to-
lake walk today. Why would you do that on a broken foot
It's
or
fine.
toe?
I
No, it's
hobbled.
not. Yeah, you're just like, betting.
But we went to go do it. Leon stopped by the office and he goes, "Hey, I'm gonna go do a lake walk. Do you want to go? Like, can you?" And I'm like, I can walk." And he goes, "Eh." And I'm like, "That's not funny. I can walk. Like I can do it." As we're going down the stairs, I looked at Roses and I was like, "Hey, you're gonna want to go ahead of me because I'm hobbling down the
Yeah,
stairs."
you're the caboose.
And he goes, "No, it's fine." As I'm hobbling down the stairs, he's mocking me behind me,
I-
and I go,
I-
"I don't care, like, dude, I did it to myself. I feel stupid. It's
Yeah.
fine.
I believe that.
I
about
deserve the
Roses.
mocking."
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, Roses will go. I'm surprised Roses hasn't like stepped on his foot or poked his toe
Please
yet.
don't. No,
Don't give him
nobody.
ideas.
Please no.
Please. I don't know if I could take that. I might punch somebody.
Well, that's how I walk downstairs all the time, dude. I'm tall and lanky, and so my joints have just always, especially my shins. I remember every football season when we would do mini camp. We'd do mini camp before we do two-a-days. and it was just shells. You just wore pads, no lower pads or anything, and you just go through the motions and skill positions and stuff like that. So it was a lot of rapid movement right away. After we would do weights in the summer, but it just wasn't cleats, turf. And so I'd get shin splints every year by the end of minicamp. And so luckily I had them iced down by 2-a-days, because I would have been able to do 2-a-days. It's just if anybody's not had shin splints,
it sucks.
Yeah, it feels like the muscles. Well, my shin. I mean, everybody's shin has usually got like a small layer of either fat or muscle. It just feels like someone's just shredding it off your bone when you walk. So it was bad. But yeah, going up and down stairs and stuff. It's just my knees.
Not pleasant at the moment.
Yeah. Losing some weight will probably help, but even when I was in shape, I always had bad knees and shins.
Yeah.
Just cursed with it.
Going to the weather for the weekend, it is looking like it's going to be mid to high 80s. So make sure you guys have water and you're staying hydrated. They're saying there's a chance of rain all weekend and through Tuesday next week. It's like a 25% chance.
Yeah, it looks like Saturday we got a little bit of a spell break from the rain, but cloudy. No real sun, like full sun. No full
Not till Wednesday.
Till Wednesday.
Yeah. And then Thursday back to cloudy.
Temps are back down next week a little bit.
Yeah. Low 80s, mid 70s. Yeah. So it's going to be a warm and humid weekend. So make sure you guys are staying hydrated, because that's going to be a key factor in that.
Hydrate the day before. If you know, I don't think we have any real outdoor shifts besides my patrol guys, and make sure you're getting on the guys. Yep. You gotta hydrate before. If you try to make up the day of, you're already
too late.
Yep, that goose has left the barn.
So, but other than that,
do geese live in barns?
They can if you raise them on a farm.
Goose barn.
Or the chicken left the coop.
The horse is out of the barn. That's the real term.
That's a perfect joke, and he just absolutely
the chicken left the coop. Chicken.
No,
COUPE.
There you go.
Yeah.
You could even say
ruined it.
It flew over his head.
Yeah.
But
look at him go! I need that sound effect.
Do you want to do a shameless plug for your?
I was going to say
your stuff?
Before we completely.
You probably have more viewers than we do, but
I said before we completely let it go, I actually wanted to bring up that this is not his first time on a podcast.
Are you comfortable with us talking about that?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
I was going to say it's too late now. I'm going to.
Yeah, that horse has left the barn.
He has his own podcast where he talks about scary stuff.
I thought it was funny.
Yep.
It wasn't.
So it's the title is Unearthly Encounters. So we cover everything from ghosts, spirits, any kind of extraterrestrial stuff.
I love that.
Have you guys ever been to the haunted prison? The one up in shoot.
We have not.
You know what I'm talking about?
I do.
There's a haunted penitentiary or prison.
Yep. Yeah. I try to remember what it's called.
Which one is that?
I'm looking it up.
You can stay the night.
Yeah,
you can pay to stay the night.
It's expensive.
I didn't look up how much.
It is.
We actually did that for the Beatty Mansion up in St. Joe.
That's cool.
We paid and stayed the night there and did an investigation.
You got like those little machines that like talk to the spirits.
We've got EVP recorders. We've got a spirit box.
Missouri State Penitentiary.
Yeah, we're actually looking probably this summer to do our second investigation.
Nice.
So we're definitely.
What's the title again?
Unearthly Encounters.
That's right.
We're on Spotify. We've got a Facebook page.
You guys are the real deal.
Instagram. We're looking at starting up a YouTube. So
fantastic.
I say, where do you guys get your? Where do you guys post them now?
Mostly Spotify.
Spotify.
I didn't know Spotify. Spotify has everything.
Apple Podcasts.
I never got into Spotify. My brother, I think it's like the only subscription payment like he has. Because he just mooches off all the other stuff me and my wife and other brothers and sisters have. And he's like, the one bill I have a month is Spotify. And I was like, yeah, but he's way into music.
So this is just so you can see it, that's an 8-hour investigation overnight. No, that's the Missouri State Pen. And then they've got this is a 6-hour.
It's the same price.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
One is with a walk and still talk.
Is that per person?
Yeah.
Oh, shnikes.
Yeah.
Never mind. I thought you just pay as a group.
No, it's per person. So I went with I've gone with a couple of friends, and then I took an ex out there because she was super into it, and my friends were like, "Hey, we're going, and you're going with us." And I was like, "Sure, I guess."
Was it fun?
It was.
Yeah.
I got in trouble the first time we went out there because they tell you on the tour, they actually say, "Don't make any noises. Don't try and freak people out because if you do, we're going to kick you out."
Yeah.
And so I couldn't help myself. And so we're standing there, and it gets to a point where you're in like the basement part of the prison, and they actually shut the lights off.
Woo-hoo!
No, and so I did something similar to the voices that we have here.
Oh boy!
So we were sitting in the dark, and it got real. I mean, it gets real quiet.
Do the voice.
And so we're sitting there in the dark.
Clarice.
And all I did, I was sitting there.
Fava beans.
And I just... and all I did was make a noise. And everybody freaked out. The tour guide immediately knew it was me. Opened the door to where we were. The lights came back on. And she looked at me and she goes, "You do that again, I'm going to drag you out of this penitentiary myself."
Oh, wow.
And I was like, "You're not going to lock me in the penitentiary?"
I'm sorry.
I was like, "My bad."
I'm sorry.
She was like, "No." And I was like, I couldn't help
That
it.
was a very odd noise you did there. Thank you.
It almost sounds like somebody's stomach with indigestion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of what it's modeled
That's what I
after.
sound like after like 6 margaritas and a bunch of queso. It's just
Night
like,
of Taco Bell.
Ooh. Brian says before we leave, he wants us to share a ghost story while on patrol or on duty.
Oh, we could talk about Mission Hills Country Club.
yeah.
That
one's
place is haunted.
That one's like legitimately supposed to be haunted. I actually try to think if I have one.
I do. At that country club.
Yep.
So we had a...
I've never had one. The closest thing I had, we were clearing a building. I think I've said this on here before. We were clearing a building. Me and one of my other patrol officers, we had a forced entry, so we have to go in and weapons are out and everything. So, and the lights are completely off. We keep it that way. We have lights and gun lights and stuff, so the bad guy can't see us coming. And so, if there is one, we get into this room. It's like a conference room of this building. And as I come in the room, I'm clearing the corner, and there is a life-size bust of Dolly Parton. And I go, "Oh!" And I go, "Oh!" Because it looked like a real person. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a life-size cardboard cutout.
Yep.
And it was Dolly Parton. Why they had that, I don't know. That's the closest thing to ever being scared that I ever
I
had.
actually have one from that country club.
Yep.
We got an alarm call, and
There's
it was probably
I've
like
heard multiple stories.
3 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, "Well, I'm the closest unit, and it's like I'll
That
respond."
happens like on a nightly basis.
Yeah.
too.
And
The
so
alarms trip all the time.
And so I went out there and opened got to the door. The doors, the doors are secured for all the main entrance that you go to. And so I unlock the door. I go in. I reset the alarm, and I look at the panel. The panel will tell you what section it's in. Mm-hmm. And so I saw the section. And I was like, "Oh, that's by the entrance to the bathrooms on this side, this hallway."
Yep.
So I walk over there. Lights still off, and I stop, and I get that chill that everybody talks about. And I was like, "Ooh, that was weird." And I look down the hall, and there's this little girl standing at the very end, and I was like. Without even thinking about it, I went, "Hey," I was like, what are you doing? And she looked like she was 13 or 14.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Hey, you can't be in here." And I turned my head because I thought I heard something to my right.
Mm-hmm.
I turned my head to look at the front door.
Because she was gone.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. Look back, she was gone.
Dun, dun,
I started flipping
dun.
lights on, and I was like, "Nope."
Yeah.
The only open door is the door I came through. I went and locked it, and I'm going through this whole place because nobody's hiding.
I've heard similar.
Found
You probably know
nobody.
more, but I've heard similar to that place. One of our guys, I think it was. I'll say his name. I don't care. It was Neiman, and he's real. And I obviously I trust people, but he's like kind of in tuned to that stuff. I think if there's like mediums, he's got some of the genes for it. He's just a spiritual kind of person. And I remember when my brother passed away, he had said something to me about it, and it was like, "How would you know that?" You know?
Yeah.
And he was just like, I had a feeling something was really bad going on with you, and I was like, "Wow, that's crazy." And anyway, so he was there one time, and he went into like, I always call it where there's a door, and then there's like a little entryway, and then another door.
Like a foyer?
Yes. And so he said he went in one time, and he walked through, and he turned around, and he looked, and the entire foyer was smoked out. And then he was like, "What?" And then like he opened the door, and it was fine. Like you could see through the window.
Yeah.
He was like, it was all fogged. Like it was, and he said the door was warm to the touch. And then he came in there and everything was fine. And he walked back and the door was completely cold. And he's like, "Dude, why would I make that up?" And I was just like,
we had
crazy.
We used to have a high school. I think
That was the only one that was at that country club.
Okay, yep.
Do you have any from the country club?
Um,
I feel like we're doing all the talking. So.
Every time I go in there,
what our job
especially
is.
when I first started,
True.
walking in there to lock it up at like 11:30.
It's an eerie feeling in there.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like The Shining. Is
Yes.
what it feels
It's
like.
give you
exactly
that.
yeah,
I'll
because
give
it's
you
got
that.
all the old architecture. It's country
Yep.
clubs always got a lot of wood and like
Yep.
wood, crown molding. It's just it's a
Exactly.
cool place. But I've been in there a few times. It's been eerie, but I've never had confirmed like a little girl's footsteps or anything like. Nothing
I've definitely
like that.
heard and kind of seen like lights flicker and stuff, which I always explain as just the
Old
power.
building.
Exactly.
It is an old building.
But I remember last year actually I went in and I was doing the lockups, and there was nobody there. But there were balloons. But it wasn't like, like a party where there's a bunch of balloons.
No thanks.
That you expect
Look at
to
McFarland's
see.
face. He's
Yeah.
like, nope.
Somebody
there's
missed
a killer
some, cleaning
clown
up.
nearby.
But it was sitting right in front of this vent, hovering just at like ground level, because the vent was maybe 6 inches off the floor, and the balloon was just sitting perfectly like right in front of the vent.
Yeah.
And I look at it, and I'm like, I'm not messing with that.
That's weird.
I went and checked my doors.
Was it a red balloon?
It was a red balloon.
No way.
It 100% was a red
Nope.
balloon.
Pennywise.
The next night, I come back, or actually a few hours later, I come back to do the unlocks around
Gone?
3:30 in the morning. There's a second balloon. And I'm like, okay, that's not supposed to happen because there's not supposed to be anybody in here. We didn't get any alarm calls or anything. All the doors were locked up.
Yeah.
So that's probably one of the weirdest things I've seen there. They did have some Halloween decorations up around
That's
Halloween.
true.
Yep.
I remember that.
And,
yep. The same thing happened to me. There was a big old woman, the big old lady
Yep,
witch.
yep.
And it just caught me off guard because all their decorations were stuffed into like one back room.
With
I was
the
walking around. I
curtains
was
in
like,
front of
whoa, yeah.
Yep.
Hello.
I
I was
did
like,
the same thing.
It was
They
like
had
the old witch from the animated Snow White. Used to
Okay,
scare
yep.
the hell out of
Yep,
you when I was a
yep,
kid.
yeah.
She's creepy, dude.
It was in the room where it's got the drawn curtains and you have to go
Yep,
through it to
yep.
get to the lights and
Yep.
flip them all on. Yeah, I opened that and it was right there on the other side. I was like, whoa. Like,
I almost shot that.
Yeah, catches you off guard.
yeah.
I see. I think the most freaked out one I've had, like that freaked me out, is we had an old abandoned high school. I don't know if we still have it. I don't think we do, but they were either they were debating on demolishing it or remodeling it, and we got an alarm call earlier in that day, and they had not secured the door, so they just left the alarm off.
Okay.
I don't know why, but they did. So we go in to clear it because the door was just wide open, and so
Right.
3 or 4 of us get there and we go to clear it, and we're all clearing the first floor, and we hear this like bouncing ball,
Oh, boy.
and I was like, "What?" Because we're yelling out, tighten security if you're here, make yourself known.
Right.
No response, no nothing. You can't hear anybody run. You can hear everything too. Everything echoes in there. You can hear us walking, and when we heard the bouncing ball, we all stopped to like listen for footsteps, and there was nothing. And so we get up to the second floor, and we hear the ball again. And we're like, "What the hell is going on?" And right as, I mean, no joke, we come up the stairs, we get to the top, the ball, it's a soccer ball, starts rolling down the hallway.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody was like, nope. They
Yeah,
all
that-
turned around. I was like, what are you doing? We've got to clear the rest of it. And they're like, absolutely not.
That's some Stephen King stuff
I
right
was
there.
like, what are we going to do? I was like, it's just a ball. Let's just go. And then, not like a minute later, you could hear running. And I was like, no, okay, now I'm done.
Yeah.
Now, nope, call PD. Get
It's not
PD
the
here.
ball. It's
I'm
whatever
out.
moved the ball.
I'm done. I am happily okay with done with this.
Right. Yep. Yep.
But
Yeah, it's definitely a freaky place, especially when you're there by yourself, 3:30 in the morning. Unlocking all the doors and everything.
Yeah,
another freaky one
I
we
was
had
never
was
there
the-
alone though. I always was there to like help because
Right.
it wasn't my route. I was a downtown guy, so
Right.
I never. And I'm good at the downtown stuff when it comes to like you got to go check this. I was just like, you don't want me for
Oh,
that.
if
you
we
don't want a
want
meathead for that. You want me to go get the guy that's peeing on himself or pooping on himself. I'll handle him fine. You don't want me to go like to the country clubs and lock doors and unlock them because I will not get it right.
I always find myself wondering, if you were to encounter something paranormal or supernatural while you're on the clock, running a route or something, what do you call out over the radio if it's something serious?
You don't.
yeah,
you handle
just-
it yourself and
Yeah.
file the
You-
report.
You internally repress that with Irish whiskey, and
You don't-
That
you-
didn't happen. That didn't happen. That didn't happen.
Those
file-
country
you-
clubs are big pieces of property.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Well,
I mean,
and some of them, I won't say which ones. Some of them are like they were different buildings before. There's
Yeah.
a vineyard.
Well, we have
never
one.
remember.
We used to have one. It was a golf course. It used to be a golf course, and they had a couple of houses on the property that were houses like long time ago.
Yeah, I
before it was a
remember that
golf
one.
course, and they never when they turned it into a golf course and everything with the houses, they just left them there because they were far enough off the course. It really didn't matter. And then one of them was where the maintenance guy lived, and he had a garage with maintenance stuff in it. And he had like chains hanging. It was one of the creepiest places we've ever
Right.
had.
right.
And you'd go in because there was no alarms, no nothing. It was just a vacant property with 18-hole golf course just there.
Right.
And so you would show up, and the gate would be open, and you'd be like, "Mother, I got to go secure this place now."
Yep.
And so you'd have to go to the two houses, two houses and the garage.
Right.
And you'd open the door to the garage, and those chains would be sitting there, and a little bit of a
Swaying.
breeze, just they'd
Oh,
start
yeah.
swaying. It'd be like, if you're in here, congratulations, I'm
Yeah.
locking you in. Like
Yeah.
this is what it's come to. You've made yourself a bed for the night because I'm not going in here.
Yep.
And then one of the houses had a full basement. It was creepy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that stuff's. There was one thing. I was out of
Schrodinger's
my-
cat. There you go. If you're in here, you're in here. I don't know anything. We're closing you off.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you're
Yeah.
not, then we're fine.
There was a few. There was one year we were out at the farm, and like old ladies have always just terrified me, like the creepy old ladies.
Yep.
And so my buddies know that, and one of our lifelong friends got my aunt's like nightgown.
Oh,
and,
boy.
And so where we were, there's the farmhouse, and then there's the farmhouse here, and then like our fire pit was like 200 yards up from the house, and the property is all squared up to the dirt road.
Yeah.
Well, the whole property has woods that U-shaped the box to the road, and so he went into the farmhouse and then went through the woods and then walked around and then came up the side of the woods. On the other side of the woods is just all farmland.
Okay.
And so it was all cut down because we were doing a fire, so it must have been cold. And so like all the corn was just flat. Just when you go by, it was a plowed field.
Yeah.
And so he's coming up along the way, and he was going to come through the woods and scare us.
Right.
Well, just so happened there's some signs that are by the ends of the woods there, and we'll routinely just shoot at those signs,
Right.
while we're there. And so it must not have been quite dark enough because he was walking, and I didn't know everybody else was in on it. He was going to come up and like sneak up to the campfire and go, man, scare me or
Right,
whatever. Well, we were shooting at the signs, and all of a sudden you hear this, hey, hey. And I'm like, what the hell is that? And so I stop, and then he comes walking out from the woods in this nightgown. I go, what are you doing? He goes, oh, it's going to come scare you, but you jackass, you're shooting at me. I said, I couldn't even see you. Like, I didn't even know you were over there. There was, I can't remember what it was. There was like 4 or 5 like road signs that we had just kind of put up on this structure, and we would just shoot them just for fun, plinking. And but yeah, I guess that would have been the closest thing that paranormal stuff would have happened to me. I'm pretty boring. I've never had anything cool, but I also don't want none, don't do none kind of thing.
Think
Like,
if you go looking for it, you're gonna find it.
that's
absolutely.
I don't go looking for it. It's not that thing's not for me. So
I absolutely go looking for it. But again, I've said multiple times, and I'll say it. I'm the guy in the movie when the loud bang goes off or the creepy noise.
Wait, what was that?
I'm the guy that goes, huh, what's that over there? I'm the first
bang
one
bang
to die
bang.
in the
Oh,
movie.
let's run towards that.
Yeah. I've always maintained I'll be the first guy dead in the movie.
I like the Predator quote where if it bleeds, I can kill it. So if I can handle it with gunfire, then I'm fine. But if bullets don't do anything, then I'm going to go the other way.
We're just warped. We're just warped individuals. We were doing the active shooter kind of instruction for on this last Saturday to some people that were just curious, and we teach them about the ALICE system, which is designed for unarmed people and what they do, the run, hide, fight kind of thing. And she was like, and you guys like would run towards the gunshots? And it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, does that, man? No, it's just.
Does it freak you out? Not
If something were
anymore.
happening,
No.
I'd feel horrible for my family, but then now doing something, that's what I
wanna
here,
do.
here to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And especially you see all those videos of those innocent kids being shot up, and not to end on a bad note, but I want them to know that if anybody plans on doing that, one of our properties or somewhere we take care of, or any good police department, which is all good. All police departments are good, inherently good, I believe.
Yes.
There's some bad apples that we will violently remove you from this planet.
Yeah.
So that's the end of the day.
That's a way to end it. But I think on that note, we are going to end it. So, Corporal Fields, thank you again for joining us today.
Great
Appreciate
episode,
you
buddy.
coming
Thanks
out.
for coming on, man.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So we're going to end it there. We appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much for everything you do. It allows us to continue to do stuff like this and have supervisors and in the future, hopefully officers on and do the other cool things we do. So thank you so much. Keep up the good work, and we will catch you guys on the next one.
Yeah. Stay
Have a good
safe
night.
and stay spooky.